I am so excited to welcome today's guest. She is magical and actually a dear sister, a friend of mine of over 20 years. Welcome, Siobhan.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And, Siobhan is an Irish sister, born in Ireland.
Exactly, with the accent, But I'm in America.
Yeah, she's in America, in San Diego area. But we're just having a good giggle because, cup of tea when we're Irish. So we're just holding up. Siobhan has this amazing cauldron she's drinking out of, and I've got my jar.
Exactly. We were having cup envy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am so honored to have you here, Siobhan. And I know your journey going deep into the healing field and studying Feng Shui, going deep into working with the land, geomancy and everything. But I'd love to start with your story. So what was it, because we all have this, what was the catalyst that brought us into that awakening in our soul to be like, oh my gosh, like this is a powerful tool. So please share that with us.
Thank you. Well, I think it probably started way before I hit adulthood. When I was 6, I started having all these experiences of remembering things. And I don't know about you, Amanda, but I, in Ireland, had never heard of a past life or anything like that before I was much older. So at 6, I didn't really understand what the visions were and why I was doing all this dancing in circle and feeling all this energy and constantly moving my furniture around. And
as we do.
as we do, right? Seriously. But I didn't understand why I was moving my furniture around in a compulsion. My parents would just hear this.
And I know all the beloveds out there, like the feng shui lovers are, oh yes, yeah, I was constantly moving my parent, driving the family crazy, moving furniture around, and just this knowing is that's not meant to be there. That's blocking, that's not supporting the flow.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand all of the pieces why I was doing all that until I got into probably when 22, 23, I was working in an executive job, running a department, just starting my really high level career. And I got into this complete stress burnout. And I couldn't understand why this was happening to my physical body. I got so ill, they thought I had MS because I couldn't really walk anymore that well. I couldn't walk up a stairs without sitting down halfway. I couldn't stay awake for more than 30 minutes. I could even fall asleep while I was eating my dinner. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I had this complete adrenal gland burnout. And so, yes, there was the stress aspect of it, and I've written a best-selling book on that because I've worked in that field for a long time. But what I discovered was there was a whole land piece to it, which is really what I had been moving my furniture around all those years for, was to try and move myself out of vortexes and ley line crossings and places in my home that was actually amplifying my physical ailments. And I discovered this by working with this man who did pendulum work, which I'd never really seen before. And he told me I had geopathic stress in my house, and where I worked also had electromagnetic stress, and that the building wasn't grounded. And it turns out the building was built on granite and it wasn't grounded. And so we used to always be getting electric shocks, and there was always static electricity in the air. And people started getting very ill in that building. Even to this day, I believe I don't know if they've remediated it, but it brought me on this journey. Yes, I did my stress management healing and my physical healing, but then I realized that the piece that most people didn't understand was the home needed healing. And so I started to really deep dive into that world and then work with clients with that. And then at the time, I thought I might be able to study Feng Shui because I was always moving my furniture around. And I really thought that that's what Feng Shui was about at that time. I didn't understand the actual power behind the magic of it. And it wasn't until I dipped my toe slightly in it when I was in Ireland, but it didn't resonate 100% because it was all about the placement of just things. And yes, I like to do that, but it didn't like buzz the inside of my body in a way that felt like go down that
Oh,
path.
yes. Yeah, that power.
Yeah. But when we met, and then I saw how you operated with your business and the magic you brought into a space, it made so much more sense to me. Like, it's mathematical, it's a calculation, it's the astrology of the building. Like, we have our astrology and the building has its astrology. And that's when it was like,
Each other singing. The guidance is there. And it's the flying stars. It's however the stars are aligned and what effect that's having on us. So we got the land beneath us with, as you were speaking to, as we, learn all about in our geomancy training, is vortexes and geopathic stress. And if people are sleeping on these, like this, and sometimes, it's a powerful, positive flowing energy, like at a sacred site, the energy is so high and it's got these incredible ley lines of energy, which creates really powerful healing. But to live on that can make you sick, so to visit these places, do ceremony, just to be in them is healing. But to live on that 24/7 can really, affect your nervous system, your immune system, mental state, all of that, right? So
it was what I discovered was when I was a kid, I spent most of my time outdoors in nature. I think a bit like yourself, right? I ran everywhere.
There at the fairy fort.
Exactly, right? I ran everywhere. I would run and read at the same time. I'd run into lampposts. I was always just reading and running. I know, it's crazy.
I love it.
But I always wanted to be with the trees and in nature and climbing trees and just connecting to that whole realm of deep connection of the fairies. And, my dad studied fairy lore and mythology, so he'd be sharing all the stories to me and weaving those into my life. So I was always like really excited to hear all about that and then go out and explore, in that energy. And so I never really was home except to get in the bed to go to sleep. So it didn't affect me that much until I went to work in a sick building at the same time. And then there was no gap. I was losing that connection to the land.
And you weren't out on the land, that healing, that rejuvenation, that, that every time we're out. And I think that's the cause of so much disease. We go from house to car to work, back to car. And it's like, there's all these toxins and like, it's just as soon as we step out in the land, that's where we just, we can just let go.
You rebalance every part of your nervous system. But the magic then, when you get a home that's been Feng Shui correctly, is that then that is also like being out on the land, right? Because it has that same level of harmony for your nervous system, for your mental state, for your physical body. And so you find that your relationships start to shift and change, that things start to flourish in a whole different way. And I remember my guidance team, I was sitting on the fence because I love to study, but they're like, should you do the work with Amanda? And my guidance team were just like punching me almost, like, get on it, that's magic, get over there, study that. You gotta go get that piece of magic. I'm like, okay, I hear you. And when I studied it, because I'm not a math brain, I have a little dyscalculia.
Yeah, I'd be the exact same. Yeah.
The math part of it was almost like, oh, take a deep breath. But it makes sense when you just consider it as 9 numbers that move around and have the flying stars piece in that there. And you get the personality of each of those stars. And then they start to become people almost more than, or sentient beings more than just numbers.
Absolutely. And their energies, it's actually nature, the water, the fire, the earth, and the essence of what they bring in, whether it's passion or to bring the energy down or to grow it up, whatever that may be. So I love that. The essence of energy, yeah.
And then, of course, the elements. I mean, when you really connect deeply with them and you understand their power, it makes such a difference. And I'm at the sensitivity level now that, if a client has a fountain going in their home, but they haven't blocked out the LED lights on it, and I don't even see the fountain, I can feel the energy of that as I approach.
Yeah.
It has an energy frequency to me that feels in disharmony because, you know, the fire and the water together are not best friends. And when, you know, you've forgotten to block out those lights on that fountain, it's like it buzzes. At least it does in my energy field.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, there's, and I thought that was fascinating. You know, that it took my awareness, and I was very aware of land before because I was working with that element since, you know, 25 years now. So I was so in tune with the land already. But then when we placed the Feng Shui on top of it, it just took everything to a whole new, different level of experience.
Yeah. And I think they're both equally as important because and you're right, it's just that inner barometer. Things are stuck, there's not a flow, this is a high energy. Can we support this to flow more? And so we can get the home in balance, but if the land's out of alignment, then it is going to cause the health, relationship, financial problems, right? But vice versa, the land can be flowing, but then what happens is, you know, you start to dig into the earth to build a home, and then there's all these different elements, and it can cause stress to the land. So then it's I think it's balancing both, and I love that. I love how you put that. A home that is feng shuied and really in harmony is almost as beautiful as laying out on the land, being on the land itself, right? I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what people feel in their nervous system. Like it then feels like the safest place possible, right? Because not only that, but, you know, if you go deeper into the practice of Feng Shui, you get your personalized, I call it a success report, but a trigram report, which gives you the optimum directions to sleep in and eat in and work in. And so then you've got everybody in the house, ideally in their optimum directions for at least one of their aspects, right? Not everyone might be able to sleep consistently in that aspect because bedrooms and the way everything is orientated, but you can always move a chair around to make sure that you're sitting in your best direction for digestion, or you're sitting in your best direction for productivity for your work. I mean, I've had clients where they're like in writer's block and they can't move forward and they don't know why. And they have a deadline from their editor and they moved house. And I said, so what shifted? And then we go to their office and I'm like, you're sitting in the complete wrong direction. And all we do is move the chair.
Yeah, like shifting the desk, shifting the chair. And it's like, because it's like the universal support is flowing and supporting you to move forward versus, like, you know, I always explain energy works in two ways, right? It's either flowing and supporting you, or it's blocking you and causing stagnation. So all you got to do is get it flowing in a flow that is supported, not too fast, not too slow, right?
Exactly. You don't want it rushing at you, so you feel like you're in like total overwhelm, but you want it coming in like a really beautiful meandering river, and then it can really support you and nurture you, and at the same time give you all that creative juice you need, or that rest you need, or whatever it is you're craving most or desiring for. And I love that, you know, when I work with my clients, I say the most important thing is your desires. Like your home represents the future you're building for yourself. It doesn't represent all of the ghosts of your past, right?
If it is, you'll stay there. But it's like,
Yes.
who are you now and where do you want to go? And it's like you have this whole universe within your home. It's like the microcosm of the macrocosm. And you get to say and how exactly you want that set up. We don't have necessary control of how the library is, or the restaurant, or the store, right? That energy is going to be how it's going to be. So we have to be in balance in order to go in and out of those spaces, right? Especially for us that are very empathic, that are very, very aware of energy when it's good, but when it's off, right? And so, like, to have those tools for the rest of your life is so powerful.
It is, oh, it's just very magical. I mean, this is the word that keeps coming up whenever I work with Feng Shui, either in my own home or with my client's home. It's just magical because it turns on so many aspects of people's lives that they don't even know they want sometimes. I had this beautiful client who'd moved on the spur of a moment to a place she never lived before. And when she got there and we started working together, I said to her, tell me about love and partnership. And she goes, oh no, I've never been interested in that before. But suddenly then she comes back to me, you know what? I'm thinking I'm changing my mind.
So there was an activation just in the question alone, and the
Exactly.
feeling of that possibility. And then, well, it's like that saying, create the village and they'll come, create the sacred space with that, as you said, that with that intention. Okay, I'm ready.
Intention, because if we're closed down to something, we can't even receive it. It
No.
doesn't even visit with us, right? Because there's no vibrational frequency or there's
So
no
much. No
like
vibration.
welcome for it.
Yeah.
So, I love when we go through that questionnaire and it goes into the 9 areas of your home, and then it literally allows you to consider what it is you want to receive in each of these areas of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people have said that the first question on that questionnaire is, do your spirits rise or fall when you walk into your home? And the amount of people that have said they've never actually even thought about that. Do I feel good or not good when I enter my home? Like, that's new. And then just what is your artwork saying? I never thought that, So when I love that. It invites you or makes you start to get clear on what it is that you do want to align with.
Yeah, because people don't, we are so outwardly focused usually on our careers and our family and all of the stuff we have to tend to, right?
Yeah.
And like to tend to, but also have to tend to. And we don't understand. I always say that our home can be turned on as our success partner. And we don't understand that. We think we are on our own doing it all. But if we actually consider that the home is the foundational energy space for everything to come out of, for our good sleep to come out of, for our productivity, our flow and abundance, our beautiful romance and intimacy, all of that comes out of the space inside of our home. So, and we use Feng Shui to activate that. We really bring into alignment our own power of intention and manifesting. And then we invite our home as if it's our best friend and hold my hand and come on my journey with me, right?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's this, I deserve to have a space that feels good, because some people actually, they start to look around their home like, oh, I got this on sale and, this person gifted me this, so I thought I'd put it there. And it's like, actually, no, unless it completely inspires you and it's a vibrational match of who you are and those intentions, then it shouldn't be in your space.
I know. I mean, I've had so much fun because I bought a home in August and I've been doing it up to host retreats from, and I've been able to pick everything from scratch. What a blessing, right? Everything. I think I brought a few, because very little that I brought with me, except for my crystals and some of my beautiful Buddhas and, my altar stuff. But really,
That's amazing. From the present consciousness of who you are, knowing what you deserve. And then I think it's something about a remembrance of this ancient wisdom, because most of us are just doing it again the next lifetime, working with the land in that way, whether it's medicine woman, priestess, whatever modality in the past, but then just that consciousness that you bring into the space and creating from there. I mean, that's just amazing. So fun.
I know. And I mean, if you start from scratch with 0 things in a home and you have to build it all yourself and just say I ripped out the carpets. I did everything. I painted all the walls. I did everything.
Are you there now? Are you there now?
Yes.
Ah, gorgeous.
Yeah. Thank you. So I got to put love into every piece of the house,
Yes, absolutely. It's all an expression of love.
Yeah. And it feels so yummy. I mean, everyone who comes and stays with me, I've had privates here, and I've had a group retreat so far, and they're like, oh, they love it.
They're stepping into the love.
Yeah. And it's very balanced for Feng Shui, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's like you've got the tools. I think there used to be this thing, oh, you have the Feng Shui person come over, you might as well get ready to move. But it's not that. It's like,
no, it's not that at
like
all.
over 20 odd years I've been practicing 30,000 homes. There's only been twice, and there had been murders and suicides and everything in the house, and it was just everything. But most times it's like, we can get this moving, we can clear it, we can work with the land. And whether you're like you're pulling out carpet and stuff to bring it to that frequency and vibration of love, of a higher consciousness. It's beautiful. So it sounds like you kind of were born with these gifts, of connection to the spirit world, the fairy realm. I mean, I think that's why we were sisters right away. It was like,
I know, right? We recognized each other. We danced in a fairy fort together.
And we will again. We will again. Maybe this summer, who knows? And so I know that you embody this already, but it sounds like when you came through the training on a professional level, it just awoken a whole lot more and gave you more tools to help your client. Is that it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was already working with home healings really deeply, and probably 50% of my work was already that work.
Yeah,
but I found that, when I can then add the remedies in on top of that, because that then anchors their desires back into the home. The home healings were to clear the energy of the previous people and all the previous energies that land was holding. Yeah. And sometimes there was weird stuff happening, ghosts or whatever in the home, that they were not sleeping very well and having challenges. And so, but when I did the baseline clearing, then putting everything back in with the correct remedies just made people they're like, oh my God, this feels so good.
And that bliss feeling, in our home.
I didn't think you could feel this good.
That's amazing. Like, what a gift to be of service in that way. Because when we're in a space that we feel that way, we feel so inspired and so lifted up. Like, because I've been in spaces that are out of balance, and I know how I feel in them, even just homes that I've lived in the past. And then the frequency of, I'm like my home now, it's like I've like piece by piece, and I work with the energy, and I'm really consciously working with the energy all the time. Like a lot of the work that I do, I work with clients virtually, whether it's space clearing, energy clearing, working the land teaching, and like I daily cleanse my space, because like this is scientifically proven now, everything's made up of energy. So if you're working with a client who's having big releases and big healing moments, like you kind of have to be accountable for keeping the energy clear. And I say this always, even the next person the next client coming in, they don't want to come into that energy from the last person. They need a fresh, clearer vibration to come into. What have you got?
My spray. I literally do this in between.
That's beautiful. I love that. Is this one of your sprays, Siobhan?
No, I have my own spray, but I'm out of it right now. But that's just one I love to use quickly in between clients.
Exactly. Or you might have a little bell, or whatever the ritual is. But it's it might be even just opening the window and lighting a candle, or a quick prayer or a chant, or everybody's going to have their own kind of tool. So that's amazing.
And I find with my clients, what I do is I have mantra lists I've created them for different pieces. They might want a mantra list for healing, a mantra list for negative energy clearing, a mantra list for love. And so I give them those mantra lists and say, okay, at least once a week, play this in this space, because that's a space in your home that can gather energy that's not the most supportive for you. And then this is your juice up your romance mantra list.
I love that. I love that. So it's empowering your clients with the tools as well. So I think that's
Yes. I think because, when COVID hit, we couldn't go into people's homes. So we had to find alternative ways to work.
Yeah.
And like I sometimes would send remedies, the mirrors and some things to clients in the mail because they weren't sure where to buy. And then I would get them to get sage and do their own saging. And people was like, well, what are you doing? And I'm saying, no, that's just like
the little top, the sprinkle.
sprinkles, darling. What I've done.
You really want to know what I've seen, what I've been working on, what I've cleared today. Do you really? Because we are about being authentic with somebody in their space, but also, not want to scare them about what was in the space or what's, and I think it just depends. Some clients really do want to know what has gone on, but like, sure, the land is 4.5 billion years old, and, especially in Ireland, there's so much land that's had famine, or around the world, land that has had war and bloodshed of some sort, you know what I mean? So there's levels and,
Well, what I love doing, when I usually do a home healing for people, it might take 4 hours on my side, and I record all the important pieces they need to know. And every client has come back and said, "Oh my God, that's what was going around in my head," or that was starting to turn up in my conversations with my teenager, or my husband was saying things like that to me. So, and it wasn't that they were actually that kind of person, but they were responding to the energy that was in
the space. Absolutely. It's like in the walls, it's, in the earth beneath them. And
I had this client, which I loved. She had these 2 chairs and she'd move them to the garage. And I had told her, there's something in your garage that's really out of alignment with you. Can we go out there on the phone? So she brings me out on the phone. And I said, oh my God, those 2 chairs. And I started to tell her what I could hear language-wise coming from the furniture. And she said, oh, I thought I was losing my mind because I've been starting to feel that way. And it's so not the human that I am. And I inherited these and I didn't really want them, but they were given to me in a will. And so I had to keep them, I thought. And I went, no, you don't.
Nope.
No. I said, we're going to clear them now so they're neutral. And then we're going to get like Goodwill to come in their big truck or whoever and pick them up and take them off to the next person that will appreciate the antique that they are.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't need
that frequency,
the energy attached to that. People don't realize their furniture comes with energy. They go and they buy secondhand furniture and antiques and they take those into their homes. All of that has the people's energy that was owned those before.
Yeah, but I think it's the same thing with new stuff. It's like, well, where was it made and by whom?
Yes, exactly.
That they're making, and then as it transported to you, like I think there just is an awareness of every person that enters your space, your home, brings an energy, right? Every item. So if you like, I always have this beautiful ritual where like there's we do a grid around the space, but there's an energetic waterfall, so right away, even every time they come in, there's just a cleansing and a clearing. And then it's like anybody who comes can leave their stuff there. And then when they leave, they can still take the stuff with them if they're really attached to whatever that is. But just know that whatever it is, even a brand new home, what were the builder's intentions? What was the relationship there when they're building the home? And of course, as we know, the land, like what was the experience of the land? So there's so many layers. So I've been doing this work, but right now, you're presently in the training with Alex and I, the geomancy.
I'm so loving it.
You are good.
I've been wanting to do it for like 3 years. And I kept saying, I need to get to that. I need to get to that. And then suddenly it was like, my team are very vocal, and it was suddenly like, get on that. I'm like, okay, let me go look at that again. And then every time you had it in person, I just wasn't able to make it. And now you have it online and you can jump into it whenever you want to. Like it's available. I was able to start, not at the start date, but catch up. And I'm just like, every time I'm in my car to drive to my retreat center, it's 2-hour drive there and back. I'm listening to this training. At nighttime, I spend like 30 minutes listening to this training a couple of nights a week. So this is how I'm like getting this work absorbed into my nervous system. And I take the meditations and I take them out to my land. And I built a cairn on the land
Oh,
2 weeks
amazing.
ago with a group that was here. And it was a small cairn because it was raining and it was due to snow at any moment. So, we didn't get a lot done because we were cold. But we got the direction set, the intention set. We put oils in and acorns because it was under the 2 oak trees.
Oh,
And
amazing.
yeah, and we and we anchored it as a protection spot for the whole property because it was right at the front in the kind of the center part of the property at the front. It just felt so beautiful to do
Did
that.
you connect it and lined it with any mountains or kind of what?
I wanted to see how it wanted to be for at least a month
Mm.
before I wanted to go and see where it wanted to connect to.
I love
So I wanted to get used to having its presence. I went down yesterday to talk to it and just thank it.
Oh,
And I left flowers on it before I left the last time because I'm not here constantly.
yeah. So it's an
I
offer
don't,
connecting.
yeah, so I offered beautiful edible flowers
Oh.
for and then I think they were actually eaten by birds because when I came back they were all gone.
But that's the cycle of life, and that's the offering of and it brought words to it. I love it. And then I think the amazing thing about the Karen is like even when you're not present in the land, you can be connecting with it. And then maybe it will speak to you as to where, because with these Karen, just for beloveds that don't know, there are these anchor points, and it can be, connected with sacred mountains or just, energy lines, and you can bring that strength, and that energy of these sacred sites, like to the land in a very kind of conscious way. It connects with the cosmos, the stars, and it's like this, it's like an altar, right? It's like this beautiful altar. And I love that you visit it and you bring it offerings, and it's like a living entity, this beautiful spirit.
And the people that made it with me, the women that were here, I had told them we were going to do it. So they had brought crystals and offerings to add into it. And so, one of the women brought a group of her crystals that she had initiated on her sacred wedding day. And then she brought those to leave behind to initiate love and to anchor that energy. And so it was beautiful. Everybody brought something, and it just made it very special,
It is. I feel like it's just the creating of it is such a sacred act, and it kind of touches you in a way, and then they get to carry that energy with them as well.
Yeah, it's a memory for them. So when everyone left my land, because my land is full of crystals, and I didn't realize that when I bought the property.
You've got crystals in the land. What kind of crystal?
Just sitting
Is
around
it pure quartz or other kinds of crystals?
quartz, just quartz.
Yeah.
And so when I was moving in, there was a man who came to help just move furniture, and he was also a geologist, and he went, "Oh my God, look at all this crystal." And he just started picking all these crystals. He said, "I've seen a property up here." He said, "I've lived up here all my life that has so much crystal on it."
Beautiful.
It's just like growing all over the place. It's like popping up out of the earth. So I'm like,
tells you a lot about the vibration of the land there.
Exactly, right? Meant to be for me, for sure. And I was like, oh wow, no wonder. So we went and we picked crystals from the land and then put them into the cairn as well,
Well, so it's like it's then this creates this vortex of energy, really.
Yeah. And then everybody took either a crystal or an acorn from my land for them to then carry that sacredness home with them, which was beautiful.
I got chills, and I love that it's under the oak tree, which is so special,
Yeah, I know. I have the acorns. I have 2 different types of oaks on my property. I have live oaks and I have black oak. And yeah, I love where I live. I mean, there's a bobcat in my driveway a couple of weeks ago. There was a coyote in my backyard the other day.
Amazing.
There's a mountain lion somewhere that wanders around. People have caught him on camera. I thankfully haven't met him out for my walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the guy I want to meet when
No,
I'm
exactly.
wandering.
But that's powerful medicine right there, isn't it?
It is so powerful. And all this land is, as is a lot of America, is Native American Indian land, but it was very much to do around my property because it was oaks. This tribe used the oaks to make flour. So the women gathered all the oaks. So when I called forth the ancestors of the land, when I was making the kern, all these women came forward carrying baskets of acorns. And then I could see them, and many places you go, you can see where the rocks are carved out from where they ground to make their flour. So it just feels like
very sacred land.
Yeah. And I'm home because 16 years ago I came here and I felt, oh my God, you've lived here before and you're home now.
I feel that in my heart.
And I didn't want to leave. I cried the whole way back down the mountain. And my kids were like tiny and they're like, Mommy, why are you crying? We just had a holiday, you know?
I can't leave this land. I know it. I know. I hear you. Well, you're home and it's like the ancestors of the land. The elementals, they're all like, she's here.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you do all this incredible, beautiful, sacred work, for people in their homes with the land. I'd love if you would share with us, what are some practices that you use in your personal life that really keep your vibration in such a way to carry on doing this work? Because, you shared with us in your 20s, where you're doing some work that was not in alignment and the burnout. So please tell us, some of like what really sustains you, what fills you up spiritually, physically, emotionally, energetically.
It's a daily practice for me. It's not just an every now and then practice. I have to connect to earth every day. Usually that's trees or crystals. And when I can't get out, I have crystals I can use in my home to just make that anchor space for me.
Yep.
I spend spirit delivers a lot of information to me in my dream state, which is very helpful. So I spent an hour and a half to 2 hours every day, probably from around 4 or 5 in the morning, going through my dreams and to release anything that's ever that's going to hold me back from my clients and being present with them for that day. Yeah. So any unconscious, subconscious dumpings or anything that's not in alignment with me being in true resonance and highest vibration. And I found that now the homes I work with in Feng Shui, they actually dream into me the night before I work.
Yeah, that's like, all right.
Exactly. So I get those messages coming in my dreams and they send me symbols. Yeah. So all of that I decompress for an hour and a half to 2 hours before I get out of the bed. And I do my meditation, even though it's not a sitting meditation, it's a lying down meditation. I start running energy lines. And then I always do something very high vibrational for my breakfast. Usually a smoothie with so many things added in there that people go, are you sure that's good for you? Yes, it's amazing. I got all this, Ashtanga roots and lion's mane and mushrooms and power greens and chia and cacao and hemp and all of this goes into.
Well, you're glowing, sister. You're glowing. It's working.
That is the foundation for my day. Then
thank you.
That's the vibrational liftoff point.
Yeah, hear you loud and clear.
And then everything else after that is, if I get to do anything else, it's great. But if I don't get to do those pieces, then it's usually a little off kilter for me. Yeah. So I hear you. They are, and I do a lot of salt scrubs in the morning for showering and dry brushing and all of that stuff to get my body ready as well. And as you said, saging, a lot of energy clearing throughout my day, in between each client, in between each conversation with somebody that mightn't be in alignment with how I would want it to have go, because we can't control other people. We can only control
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So then I always like micro, it's not manage, but like mindful every situation.
I love that. Yeah, bringing your consciousness into it. I love that.
And then I'm very clear on what I do when I drive. And that's usually a space for me to study inside of your school, or to listen to music that elevates me, which isn't always mantra for me. Sometimes it's 70s disco.
Yeah, I was just rocking out before we got on here. I had my speaker and I was just going.
I love to dance. So I even dance when I do the hoovering and vacuum cleaning, and I clean.
I mean, that's raising your vibration right there. Like,
because it's not my favorite thing to do. So things that I don't really like to do, I try and bring music into it. You know, I mean, for me, I'm a vibrational, like I studied vibrational medicine back in my 20s. So color therapy, vibrational crystals, healing, all of that I studied for like 3 years. So that for me taught me how to live differently.
Yeah.
And how to put in practices that sustained me. And now I've done 4 yoga teacher trainings too. So then I bring that practice in as well. So it's just like all these layers, all these layers. But I love in your school, Amanda, how you give all these tools to people, because people listening mightn't say, well, I don't know how to do any of that. That all sounds very overwhelming. And where do you start? But you give all these beautiful meditations in each module, and you give guidance on personal development and questions to ask yourself and reference points to grow. So it's not just a school of Feng Shui, it's a school of personal development, along with harmonizing your home. And then if you want to take it to the next level, working with others to harmonize their home, because Feng Shui is a soul and home situation. It's not just a home situation.
Absolutely. Oh, no, sure. There's a reason why you might be looking for a place to rent or buy, and you go in, it's like, nah. And you walk into one, it's like, it could be exactly the same. Like,
exactly.
This is it. And there's just this heart soul alignment. This is the home that I'm meant to have these experiences. There is a soul agreement in place here. And it's the healing that you bring to that home, as well as the healing that home brings to you. It's like you heal and grow together. That's the beauty.
It's a soul contract. I mean, I always say that to my clients. You're in a soul contract with your home.
Ooh, I got chills.
And so, like, what are you co-creating together? And you're not going to stay static when you start practicing Feng Shui. If you take the course with you, Amanda, or if you even get a Feng Shui consultant from your training to come in and work in the home, you're not going to be in a static situation. You're going to have beautiful change happening, not scary change, beautiful change, because whatever you're doing is going to bring you into more alignment with the truth of who you are.
I got chills.
Right? Yeah. Because you're literally activating your home to support you. So you can become a much more brighter reference point for other people.
Absolutely.
Because, nearly everybody that I work with is already a master teacher of some form, or a healer in some
but they
form.
just haven't looked to the environment yet. Like they've done this part and that part, and a lot of the time it's like the home is the last part and the land that people look at, but it's what they spend like 80% of their time inside. It's like, people, let's get the home in balance.
And not only that, Amanda, but it's also what they spend most of their money on, because they have to pay the mortgage or the rent. They have to pay all the bills. So they're working to sustain their ability to live in this place, but they haven't thought that they have to amplify the energy of this place. So it sustains them and makes the flow much more easier for them to even make more money or have a better life or have more love or harmony and relationships. And, so it's like, we work to live in a home, but we don't actually consider that home is that important to us, even though we spend all our time working to live there.
Amazing. Siobhan, this has been so like enlightening and beautiful and nourishing to chat with you today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Well, it's been just so beautiful playing in the energy with you. I love you so much.
Oh, I've loved every second of it, and I know all our listeners will have really enjoyed. And it was just so fun hanging out with you.
I know, right?
Oh,
Drinking our huge cups of tea.
I'll take a good slurp now. Here we go. Mm. Mm. Nothing like a good cup of tea.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I love you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and light with us. Thank you, my love.
You're welcome, Amanda. Thank you, honey.